College tuition in the United States has risen 180% since 1980, far faster than the rate of inflation. Our colleges are more expensive than ever. Our colleges are increasingly greedy, hoarding their money in vast coffers and refusing to spend any on the students. As a college student, from personal experience, I have to say that college is becoming more expensive and giving back very little. Our colleges claim to support the students, and yet so many of us are left forgotten by the college, unless it comes to collecting tuition money. Our colleges seem to care little about actually educating and more about getting richer off the backs of Americans and off the backs of students. Our colleges are selling us this idea of a college experience where we need to go to a particular college and do particular things when in college to somehow have a good and fulfilling life. We're sold on the idea of this, literally. Colleges are becoming more expensive without nothing to show for it. They spend their money on projects designed to make themselves look good in brochures, or not at all. Even with a college degree, employment is not guaranteed. Bachelor's degrees are effectively worthless. How funny it is that these degrees that are promoted as one-way tickets to finding success when they're effectively worthless. It's like paying over $100,000 for a nice new car that you'll never drive. Colleges seem so eager on collecting tuition from us or extorting it from us on fees that fund nothing. What do colleges do with this money that they gather from overpriced tuition, exorbitant fees, and generous donations? Some choose to do absolutely nothing. They have coffers of tens of billions. The top 5 colleges in the United States have endowments of over $100 billion combined. $100 billion. Yet despite these endowments, despite these vast sums of wealth, they still charge us tuition in the tens of thousands. They hoard this vast amount of wealth without doing much with it. It seemingly just continues to accrue, to continue growing, and to continue ever upwards. They operate more like private equity firms than colleges. These black rocks of education are less than providers of knowledge. They're more like collectors of wealth. They rarely invest this massive amount of wealth in their communities, in the American people. Other universities choose to fund expensive, overpriced, and unneeded projects. They waste money on hiring more administrators, funding a massive administrators that do nothing for everything. Or they waste money on these vanity projects. They would rather make their college look pretty than actually build up real college infrastructure. They would rather renovate buildings that do not need renovations than actually make classes better, or maybe lower tuition costs. They rarely use this money to the benefit of the students. In my personal college experience, our college decided to renovate a gymnasium. It was not degraded. It was definitely not needing an upgrade. Despite this, they spent millions of dollars on renovating this gymnasium. Millions of tuition, millions of dollars worth of tuition of services. Instead of lowering tuition, instead of actually helping students succeed, instead of funding classes, they would rather make things look pretty. They would rather change things that do not need changing to validate their expenses. Colleges do not care about the student body. Let me ask you a few questions. If they did, then why do our colleges struggle with providing quality, healthy food? Why do our colleges have heating systems that fail in the dead of winter? Why do our colleges lack air conditioning? Our colleges make it easy for us to give them money and make it very hard to actually find scholarships. If colleges cared, then they would not burden us with massive amounts of debt. If our colleges cared, then they would lower tuition. If our colleges cared, then they would invest in their communities. If our colleges cared, then they would make their programs better. If our colleges cared, they would not hire this giant mass of administrators that does nothing. If colleges cared, then we would not be stuck with horrible housing, horrible food, and horrible programs. Colleges convince us that our degrees are needed when more jobs are requiring work experience over education. Colleges like to convince us that when we graduate, our degrees are worth something, when in reality, they're almost worthless, losing their value every single year. All they want is money in their coffers to get us into the revolving door and to come out the other side with over $100,000 in debt. If they cared, they would reduce the tuition. If they cared, we would not have subpar solutions at subpar institutions. So what's the solution? What's the solution to this crisis? Our colleges claim to need more spending, more money injected into their expansive coffers. That's the solution that they like to prance around and promote. They threaten to cut student aid, to cut our services if we fail to further perpetuate this broken system, one in which the only value these colleges see is the price tag on each one of us. The solution is we don't need more spending, we need better spending. There are some institutions that do need more funding, yes, that is true, but this is not the traditionally defined high-level universities. The institutions that need more funding are the technical colleges, the ones that train our blue-collar workers of America. We desperately need these technical colleges, and yet they lack funding. The future of America lacks funding. We need more apprenticeship opportunities. We need more internship opportunities. With this better spending, we need better student services at universities. We need better housing and better food. We need better services. We need not administrators who do nothing. We need more educators who do something. We need better spending. The fact is that our colleges are raising tuition for the mere fact that they can. They know that college is now a part of the American dream, and they want us to fight and to get this college experience. They sell us on this college experience so that they can enrich themselves. They do not care about our education. They care about the money sitting in our accounts. They see us not as students, but as $100,000. Tuition is rising because they know that they can charge more, and they will still see high enrollment. They are turning colleges into degree factories and compromise the education that they do offer. Our colleges are more like businesses than nonprofits. They charge us more because there is nothing we can do to stop them. They care not about the future of America, about Americans. They care about protecting their coffers. They demonize blue-collar jobs. They demonize blue-collar professions. They demonize having a job that does not require a degree. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Because it works for the benefit of the colleges. They don't talk about the fact that a lot of plumbers make more than college graduates. They don't like to talk about those details because it undermines the point. What happens when you oppose them? What happens when you start, listing off these details? They demonize you for undermining education. They demonize you for somehow wanting to undermine the future. They claim that this current system needs to continue, a system that robs Americans and benefits only them. I have no doubt that they will demonize even this video, that this video will somehow be construed as demonizing college education or demonizing education in general. That's not what I am saying. I'm saying that college education needs to be better. It needs to work for Americans. It needs to work for students. Education should not exclude Americans. Education should not demonize Americans just based on what they do and who they are. We need better education. We need better colleges. We need better universities. We need more technical colleges. Now, if you want better colleges, if you want a better America, then what can you do? We have power. We do. We have a lot of power. Alone we're weak, but together we're strong. If you actually want a better America, if you actually want something to change with how colleges are run and how colleges operate, then join us in our mission. We're a movement of everyday Americans from all walks of life, from every state, from every county, and we actually want change. We don't believe these false promises made by false men of false parties. We believe in real action. We believe in taking action on our policies, on the things that we support. We want real action. We want action that's backed by real Americans and that helps real communities. We want a stronger, more united America. So join us, join Unitary America in building a stronger, more united America. So thank you for listening to my TED Talk. So like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and check us out on all of our other social medias. We release videos weekly, so next we'll be talking about healthcare in the United States for next week. So thank you, and peace out.